Let's get started with today's workshop. What you can expect from today's workshop is understanding what a matrimonial profile is, as in what is the purpose of a profile. Second, understanding the context in which these profiles are viewed, because I think that really will tell you how to actually make your profile much more than any other videos that I've made so far. The third thing is, once you've made a profile, once you're on one of these matrimonial websites or you put yourself out there, how do you stay relevant? We're going to discuss that as well in today's session. Okay. All right. So what is a matrimonial profile? Now, I know a lot of people hesitate a lot to put themselves out there. They'll create dummy profiles where they won't have a picture, they won't put a lot of information about themselves, and it's just a way for them to kind of scout the market, assess what their market value is. So for those people, as well as people who've never been on any of these platforms, let me clarify what the purpose of a matrimonial profile is. Essentially, it's just you indicating your availability, basically saying, hey, platform, hey, wider Janta who are looking for partners, I'm available, I'm single, right? That's it. It signifies availability. Obviously, when you're saying you're available, you've got to say who you are. And the way we've been saying who we are has been a combination of our CV, our family tree, slam book, which includes things like hobbies, favorite, pastime, etc. Our salary slips and a photo album, if you will. This is basically what we've been used to. This is what we've been conditioned to in order to assess somebody if they'd make a good fit or not. And whether that's a good thing or not, this is what people have learned to expect. And so when you provide all of this information, you have the best chances of, finding relevant prospective matches. Having said all this, it's not just about who you are, it is also about the other person, because this is a two-sided market. So given that this is a two-sided market, you also have to articulate the type of partner you're looking for, because the other side will relate to what you're saying, and if they're interested, they'll get in touch with you. So it's really important for a profile to have all of this information in order to really be marketable or useful. So that's basically the purpose of a matrimonial profile. While that is a matrimonial profile, it's really important to understand how to make that profile based on the context. So you need to understand where this profile is going to be. There are a few different contexts in which you would have seen these profiles. One is obviously the one you create on a matrimonial website. Now, on matrimonial websites, the important things to understand is who is seeing your profile. So it's parents as well as people who are in the market looking for partners. So it's a combination of things, and you don't really know who is actually seeing it. So you've got to provide information such that either of these parties would see it and feel like they trust the profile enough to take things forward. The second thing is there is a standard template. There are a few attributes. There are a few sort of things that people mostly expect from a matrimonial profile on one of these websites. So when you provide all of this information, it becomes really easy for the other side to assess if they want to engage with you. Next is dating apps. Dating apps, the intent is really fluid. You don't really know why somebody is out there. So it becomes really important for you to clarify your position in terms of what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a life partner, when you put it out there, that's when relevant people will get in touch with you. Otherwise, you'll be spending a lot of time just putting yourself out there. And the other thing is, because it is so real time, it's filled with so many profiles, you obviously have to try harder to stand out. There is no such thing as a standard template there. So really, how unique you are influences who you can find. Next, friends and family. Basically, when you become a WhatsApp forward and get circulated in the cyberspace because, you maybe shared your profile with a relative and, it goes out of hand. So it can go really viral. You have no way to control who is seeing this. And, it's really important for anybody who sees this further down the chain to be able to get in touch with you. So the information that you provide there has to be complete, holistic, but also provide a sort of contact information so they can get in touch with you, when they're interested. So these are things that you should really understand in terms of context. Who is seeing this? Where is your profile going? So what should you put in your profile, depending on the context? Today's session, we're going to focus on matrimonial sites. Of course, there are going to be separate sessions for the other things, but today's session is going to focus on matrimonial sites because I believe that really should be the first resort rather than the last resort, unlike how most people approach it. You have to start there to get a sense of what the market's like. So let's talk about matrimonial websites. When you go on a matrimonial website, I've taken the example of shaadi.com today. I want to take you through how your profile gets viewed, and that should give you an idea of how to actually make your profile. So when you go on a matrimonial website, this is the example that I've taken from shaadi.com. Somebody who sees your profile will see your profile like this, right? This is what I call above the fold. If they don't scroll down, this is what they see on a web browser, right? When they're looking at hundreds and thousands of profiles, this is what they see at first. Most of the time, because people are looking at tens or hundreds of profiles on a daily basis, because you have to remember that there are a lot of parents who finish their breakfast and chai or coffee and then sit down and they're just browsing for the rest of the morning. So how do you catch people's eye when they're doing this, right? So what can you see about the fold? The big things that really stand out if you look at this is your photograph, your name and basic information that you've already filled out in the form that comes out on the top in this basic information tab, what is filled out in key attributes. Then they get to see your bio, especially the first 3-4 lines of your bio, and they get to see who manages the profile, right? These are super important things that people will see at first glance. Now, if they aren't completely disgusted or thrown off by your profile, they will go further down, right? But if they're kind of turned off in the first instance, they won't go past this. So what you need to do is try and give as much information as possible within this window. About the fold has to have a lot of information that is useful for people. Photograph. Make sure you have a really sharp photograph, and we're going to cover, what makes a good photograph. And key attributes, make sure you fill all of them. And I will tell you more about why it's so important to fill all of those attributes. Who manages your profile? Now, this is super important too. If I am the one who is looking to get married and I see that my prospective partner's profile is managed by the parent, I'm going to hesitate a little bit to get in touch because I don't really want to have a conversation with the parents. I would prefer to have a conversation with my prospective partner, and that's how most millennials and Gen Zs feel. So if you are also involved in the process, which ideally you should be, you should mention that within your bio, saying, hey, this profile is managed by me and, sometimes my parents or something like that. So these are things people see at first glance. And so you should pay attention to these things. I'll go a little bit more in detail in some of these aspects. Next, below the fold. So this is what you see on top. If they're like, okay, this looks kind of interesting, let's see what more information I can find about this person, they'll go further down, scroll down, right? Below the fold, what they can see is, what your dietary preferences are, vegetarian or not, what your family background is, could be caste, it could be horoscope details, whatever you've kind of provided. And there's your education and career. So if you don't fill this out, then you're not building enough trust. And, for genuine prospective partners, they will not stay on. They will just pass off your profile, right? Further down is this partner preferences, and a lot of people completely miss that. They don't even see what you're looking for. So normally what I would say is in your bio, you should try and address that bit so that for those people who don't scroll further down, you're still giving them that information. Okay. All right. Let's get into a little bit of specifics. Photographs, because that forms such a big part of your overall profile. Um, Absolutely must do's, right? Photos are a must. If you don't put a photo, then people are not going to know whether this is a genuine profile or not. They won't know if you're serious or not, right? The second thing, recent photographs. You don't want to look like a 12th standard pass out while you're like, 32 right now. So you want to make sure you put recent photos because it really helps build trust. When you meet with a person, you're going to look entirely different because age shows. You don't want them to feel thrown off in the very first impression. So you want to make sure they're getting what they see, right? Next, how many photos? Three to four, 5 photos is a good enough number. There are some people who put 20 photos, and honestly, guys, I'm not trying to open up a box of nostalgia and trying to go down the memory lane. So I don't have time to look at 20 photos. Nobody does, right? Because you're looking at tens or hundreds of profiles every day. So 3 to 5 photos with very different profile shots, up to the bust, just your face, full length, whatever it is, right? Basic idea is for them to be able to visualize what you look like. Um, Next thing, photos with comfortable attire. Absolute must. Because I know a lot of people who put pictures in saris or kurtas. Nobody really wants to see what you look like at a cousin's wedding or like once in 5 years. They want to see what you look like every day. They want to be able to imagine what it would be like to be with you every day. So comfortable, regular, everyday attire is good. And this is not a workshop on photography, but like good natural lighting so that they can actually see your face, not with like light in the background and they don't really see your face. Those are all absolute must-dos. Stuff that you shouldn't do. Um, Sorry, I should change this. Don't put someone else's photo. Like, absolutely don't put someone else's photo. Next, no Photoshop pictures, right? I see a lot of people with filters and things like that, which looks absolutely like fake and shady, and like nobody would appreciate that, right? Next, group photos, right? So it's not a game show. It's not guess the correct person whose profile this is kind of game show. If you're the one looking to get married, please put your picture. Don't put group photos and give people the task of trying to figure out which one in the group is you. Next, avoid selfies. Selfies are an absolute no-no because I don't think everyone's great at taking selfies, so you shouldn't do that. Next, sunglasses. A lot of people put pictures with sunglasses. Um, some people don't like it because they can't see your eyes. Eyes, as you know, is the window to your soul, helps build trust, yada, yada, yada. But the point is, in that split second, when they look at your eyes, your eye, like they connect, right? So if you put pictures with sunglasses, you're really missing out on the opportunity to help someone connect with you. Next, repeated profiles. If you have 20 pictures of, like passport size photos, you're not adding new information there, right? Except for the fact that maybe you have like 20 different shirts or 30 different tops and so on. So these are things you should keep in mind. Next, bio, whatever you write, in the About Me section. Absolutely keep it concise, less than 100 words, because you are already providing a lot of information through many different fields within the form that they can scroll down, already filtered for through their filters and so on. But you want to give them concise information, and I have links to separate videos where you can learn about how to write that. I'm going to add those links here. Next, as I said, people don't scroll further downwards, so try to include partner preferences within your bio, like just 1 or 2 lines saying, this is the kind of partner I'm looking for, so that whoever comes to your profile is able to see that and connect with you. Next, as I said, please mention who manages your profile, because that really sets the right expectations and doesn't throw off somebody who thinks they're chatting with you, but they end up finding your father. Next, spell check. Absolutely. Like no grammar or spelling mistakes. Like that can be such a big turnoff for, someone who's educated, right? It also kind of shows that you've taken an interest to write properly. Stuff that you shouldn't be doing, not being honest on your profile, that's not cool. Next, information overload, like being way too honest and sharing all of the information that nobody wants to know. I've seen some profiles where people talk about their maternal grandfather, paternal great grandfather. All of that information is just too much. Sometimes, people start wondering, if you don't have enough to talk about yourself, that you need to rely on your paternal grandfather to make your matrimonial bio, right? So avoid doing that. Next, please don't use default template like hello, welcome, thank you for visiting my profile. It's so nice that you stopped by at my page. It's a massive waste of precious real estate, guys. Please don't do that. Next, adding contact information. Things like, hey, sorry, I don't have a premium membership, but can you please ping me on Instagram on this ID? It just comes across as a little cheap. I know you can't have a premium membership on all platforms. That's totally cool, right? The way I would approach it is, if you have 20 matches on a platform, you should really be paying that platform to give you access to contact information, rather than kind of saying that. I'm not opposed to people not paying platforms, but just saying that comes across as cheap. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have a few videos that I made in terms of for figuring out how to write a good bio, what kind of profile pictures you need to have, and how to articulate your partner preferences. Gonna add the links later, and you guys can check it out. Next, you've made your matrimonial profile. Now, how do you stay relevant? You basically have to keep your profile updated with any sort of life changes that happen with you. Because matrimonial websites are online, it's very easy for you to change. Unlike, let's say, you're circulating a PDF profile with family, you can't be like, hey, sorry, I made a mistake in this. This is the updated version. I forgot to attach my photo. This is one more updated version. That, like, it's a pain, right? It's obviously easier to do this online. Next, you want to make sure you stay on top of people's inboxes, and I'll explain what that means. The next thing is, you want to be constantly experimenting. It's hard to say what works and what doesn't work on this platform. So you constantly have to keep figuring out what is working for your profile on these platforms, right? You don't just create a profile, forget about it, log in 6 months later. Let's talk about a few what I would call pressure points that you should keep an eye out for while trying to stay relevant. So this is like, let's say, the home page of shaadi.com. Like, if you have a profile on shaadi.com, and if you're on the home page, this is what the home page looks like, right? So if you look at what type of profiles or what type of users or customers get prioritized on the home page, it's recent visitors to your profile. So if you've been actively visiting people's profiles, then your profile will pop up here. The next thing is new users. If you have recently joined, then you get a stack saying just joined. And that obviously catches people's eye much more than, if it's not there. A third thing is premium users. People who have a paid membership, they have a separate place where, it pops up, and your profile could pop up here if you have a premium membership. Next is members you may like or relevant users. So if you have filled out all of the information, all of the fields on your profile, then your profile will get filtered and come up for relevant prospective partners, which is why I was saying that it's super important for you to complete that profile. Otherwise, you're not going to be visible for your prospective partners. The fifth type of users are people who are active on these platforms. You'll get notifications like, this person uploaded a photo, this person uploaded a horoscope, or like whatever, right? So these are the people that get prioritized on the homepage. So if you want to stay relevant, for your prospective partners, make sure you're active, make sure all of your information is filled out, make sure you have a premium membership if it makes sense for you to have a premium membership on that particular platform. And don't go on to a platform unless you really know you want to get married, because your profile will get stale and it is not going to sort of get circulated as much. And if you're not visiting anybody, then no one's going to know you're there. Okay. Next, let's go on to the matches page. On the matches page, you will see that once again, people whose profiles are completed gets prioritized because it has two-way matches. Okay, like if what you have filled out is what somebody else is looking for and vice versa, your profile will pop up for your prospective partners and vice versa. So it's super important for you to complete your profile as well as your partner preferences. Next, people with public profiles, meaning where your photo is visible, you've not hidden your photo, where you're saying, oh, photo should be visible only to premium members, etc. We're not saying that. If I just tick this one field, your profile is not even going to pop up here. Okay. Next, once again, new users are prioritized because you can select if somebody selects, I want to look at users who logged in, who signed up in the last 1 week, and then just those profiles pop up. Next, active users, right? Everybody wants to get in touch with active users, so that's a filter that is used a lot because that goes to show that yes, you are active in the market, that you will respond, and we can take the conversation forward, because people are very wary of getting in touch with someone who hasn't been active in a month, because you don't know if they're already married, you don't know what's happening, right? So these are some of the ways to stay relevant on these platforms. So this was a slightly longish presentation, longer than I'd expected. But yeah, now I'm very happy to take any questions if anyone has.